How do you think Tom Brady and the Patriots and the decision that's coming up over the next 6 to 7 weeks is going to play out? What do you think?
Well, it's so protracted. It takes forever, and everybody's reading the tea leaves. Oh, he left his house and cleaned out his suite, and his family, kids are in schools elsewhere. I mean, he could quarterback from anywhere, and he could be the team's quarterback. So, I mean, the longer it goes now, I start to think, well, things stay the same. Josh McDaniels isn't leaving. Brady isn't leaving. Bill isn't leaving. They can come back and beat the bums of the AFC East and get back to where they like to go, just automatically with another 11-win season or 12-win season just by showing up. I mean, I think a large part of it could be, if the owner if Tom wants 2-3 year commitment at his age and the owner wants to give it to him and the coach doesn't, that's the showdown. And if I were the coach, I wouldn't give it to him either. I mean, I think Bill's prepared to move forward with Stidham or Bridgewater or whoever he wants to anoint, the way Matt Castle stepped in and won 11 games in 08. I think that Belichick's confident they can still, get where they want to go, even if Brady's gone.
What about the narrative that Brady was not happy with who he was surrounded by to win a championship this year, and that issue can't be clearly answered definitively with human beings on the roster because of the fact that the deadline for this decision to be made is essentially the new league year before free agency hits? Dan, what about that narrative?
Right. I mean, Tom's been here 20 years. He's had great supporting cast, not so great. He's had, going back to days where he didn't have great weapons or whatever. They tried to bring in Antonio Brown. They did for a game. They had guys running through here. It just, nothing worked out. He didn't have a lot of weaponry. But, Ryan Fitzpatrick works with that every year of his 15-year career and had a way better game than Brady did at the end of the year when they came through here. So, you got to be able to work with everything. Tom said everything one time or another. He wasn't at OTAs. It's hard to be, cranking about the young receivers if you're not at those things. And they had a great defense, and they were 8-0. So, ultimately they were 0-4 against the 4 teams that were still standing in the AFC last weekend, and that team does not deserve to progress.
And what about the narrative that Tom just wouldn't want to put on another uniform? What do you think of that?
I would hope that's true. I don't see how it ends well. I mean, to me, it just becomes a ridiculous respect thing or somehow measuring yourself in a way that's not necessary. I wish he'd retired after they won the last Super Bowl. When the confetti's coming down on his head last year, walk-off moment like Gronk did would have been great. So I just don't think he needs this. I don't know whether it's to advance the TB12 brand, to prove he can play at 45, whatever. What I saw last year, I don't really have a lot of interest in seeing more of that. I mean, he could still do a lot of things, but there's a reason there's not a lot of 43, 40-year-old quarterbacks in the NFL, and I don't think it'll end well if he keeps doing this.
For more of The Rich Eisen Show, tune to Audience Channel 239 on DirecTV for free on BR Live or download the Rich Eisen Show app.